This video is going to be a film study look at how the Lions were able to get off to a ridiculously hot start in their 47-9 win over the Cowboys Sunday afternoon. Going to focus on the first three possessions, culminating with the flea flicker or double reverse pass, whatever you want to call it, to Sam Laporta. I knew I had seen it before. I was able to go find it. Very similar play run to Laporta against the Panthers at home last year, early in 2023, his rookie year. I want to address something that Tom Brady said and kind of talked about at least 2 or 3 times. I think he kind of missed the point. He's a brilliant analyst, great quarterback, one of the greatest of all time, incredibly smart, way smarter than myself. But I think he was missing a point a little bit, talking about how many trick plays Ben Johnson was running, to the point that it was obvious they were trying to get an offensive lineman to score, and I do agree with that. I think Ben Johnson was putting things out on film such that you, as a defensive coordinator, defensive staff, preparing for the Lions, just accepted the fact that there's really no way you can get ready for the multitude of anomalous concepts or plays that his guys can execute. I don't know what their practice plan looks like. In my opinion, they're probably practicing multiple trick plays each week for a specific opponent, number one, but I think he's got a baseline, a foundational group of trick plays that they run every week and practice a certain number of times. Otherwise, he doesn't feel confident in utilizing them in a game. For us, that number was 7, meaning unless we had successfully executed a particular anomalous concept on offense 7 consecutive times in a row under some duress, not just on air, we didn't feel comfortable executing them. To me, Ben Johnson has a dedicated time period for it, or he cycles them through every 10th or 12th play to kind of simulate the way it'll be run in a regular NFL game. Not trying to be too critical of Tom Brady, but I thought he was missing a perhaps underlying point there, a secondary reason why Ben Johnson was doing those things late in the game, along with trying to stick it in the Cowboys and the NFL's face that they got the call wrong last year, at least from a referee standpoint. Let's get to the film. Regardless of who Dallas was going to have on the field, there was going to be, in my opinion, difficulty stopping the run. I'll go through pretty much every play on the first drive. I'll turn that glittering effect off in a moment. My apologies. Although David Montgomery ran with an incredible amount of force, made things difficult for Cowboys tacklers that were going to try to bring him down. This is one of the base formations, in my opinion, for the Lions, for Ben Johnson's offense. Ace, 12 personnel. Sometimes it's 2 tight ends, sometimes it's jumbo 12. In this case, that's what you got, jumbo 12. Skipper being eligible. Give me 1 second, I'll turn that filtering effect off. My apologies. Creates a 2nd and 5. Again, we're going to go through pretty much the entire first possession. The second possession will skip around some, and then the third possession happens quick. I really love this play, even though it doesn't work out in this particular instance. It's a 2nd and 5, very next play after Montgomery's run, again out of jumbo 12 personnel. Laporta stays on the field. Skipper goes off, and they bring a receiver on. There's one substitution to make this happen, along with the running back substitution, that is. I like the fact that you got twins to the field down here, and St. Brown is bringing his route inside, so Goff has an immediate read on this nickel defender, that the nickel defender is going with St. Brown, and as a result, Gibbs can run this little route out into the flats. At first, I thought it was a choice route. I don't really actually think it was. It ends up being high, incomplete pass, one of the few incomplete passes that Goff has thrown in the last 3 weeks. You guys know, if you watch my reaction video, I've got him at 54 of 60. Involves a down block on the front side, and then the center and the guard pulling. I'm going to call down sweep. So Sewell was trying to execute a down block on this 4-eye or 3 technique. Laporta is releasing to the outside, an arc release, to try to widen this defensive end up such that the guard can kick him out. They end up wrapping him pretty much, or he's fronted him up, he's head up with him. Ragnow has pulled, they've missed. Is smart. It was smart before Aiden Hutchinson's injury. Now it's pretty much necessary, if you ask me. These guys on the offensive line doing work. Sewell basically digging this guy out of here, not letting him cross Sewell's face. All the work to this side by Ragnow, Zeitler, Glasgow allows Montgomery to cut back off of it. You can push them up, I think, 7-3 at that point. Second possession after the interception by Branch in the end zone. We're going to skip a little bit of plays here. So this is after a short gain. This is 2nd and 9. A little lead draw. This is a Ravens play to my knowledge, at least from the team that I have seen run it the most. So you've got twins down here to the field, bottom side of our screen, the right-hand side of the offense, fullback, tight end into the boundary. You could certainly run the football up there. And on the snap, Goff is going to fake like he's going to run a little hitch. Some people call it smoke screen, whatever. He's just trying to hold these guys for a moment. And then the draw element comes in to Gibbs. It's a 2nd and 9. I'd call it lead draw. Ends up being an 8-yard gain, creating a 3rd and 1. They're able to convert it. I'm going to move forward a little bit. This actually is the 3rd and 1. My apologies. Montgomery skipping, finding the right lane for 7 yards. He was a handful for Dallas to try to tackle. It's Jumbo 13, so you've got 2 actual tight ends on the field, Wright and Laporta. And then Skipper has reported eligible, so he's the backside tight end. Motion Wright down to the bottom of the screen. Basically, late double on 35. 6, Wilson, the safety, fills outside. So it's kind of a subtraction from an inside gap standpoint. Montgomery's able to running back. A great effort. Skipping forward 2 plays, you can see Gibbs in his kind of traditional standing straight up stance. I think he's maybe not having as much impact in the pass game, but I think he's blocking well generally so far this year. So look at what the Cowboys are giving him. You got a 4-2 in the box right now. You've got a DB as a potential force player here, and then a safety whose feet, I'm not sure if you can see, your frame is a little bit cut off there. Working the outside zone to that side. So they lock this on the backside with the tackle on the defensive end. And then Laporta kind of folds back in here. I think this is to set up the backside cutback. I think this concept and way to get it accomplished. Same play, all 22 angle. And you can see the angle that Laporta takes to insert into the B gap and then go cut off that inside linebacker. He might seal him out. In this case, takes him down. Perfect timing. You can tell he drills that a lot. And Gibbs is a nice play for Gibbs because of his ability to put his foot in the ground and burst downhill. I love this jet sweep. Jameson Williams out on the edge out of 11 personnel, twin slot, making it happen really quick. So on that motion with Goff under center, they've got it timed up really well for Goff to snap the football at a particular moment, get it in his hands. You can see there's requisite defenders here for the Cowboys, but they don't know if Jameson Williams is getting the ball or if Gibbs opposite. That's why I call it jet dive. The jet is going in one direction, in this case the right side for the offense, and the dive is going in the other. So this player is put in conflict. The DB who's running with Jameson Williams because it's man, it actually is free. Obviously, there's going to be anybody assigned to block him. He's able to get his hands on Williams' feet just enough to keep him down, prevent the larger gain. Same play, end zone angle. It's 11 personnel, jet sweep into the boundary, not blocking the boundary side D end. Laporta is arc releasing up to the strong safety in this personnel with the nickel set to the field. The nickel is going to be away from the point of attack when the ball is given on the jet. Number one. Number two, you're not generally going to get a rotation by the secondary that gives away their coverage, meaning rotating down into the boundary. 2 plays later, another touch for Jameson Williams against Diggs. Little in cut. Pretty big win, if you ask me, for 15 yards. It's 11 personnel trips to the field. Motioning St. Brown down, so he knows he's got man. Williams getting an inside release, going to bring this to about the 28-yard line. Bring it back into the middle of the field. No one there for the Cowboys because they're running in man here. Inside linebacker, man on the running back. All the open space. Credit to Ben Johnson, Jared Goff for recognizing it. Coming back to Williams, you can see who's put his foot in the ground. And now going to bring his route back to the inside. Creates enough separation such that the ball is right on top of him. Maybe a foot at more 8% in the last 3 weeks. As I said, they settled for a field goal on that second possession. I think made it 10-3. This is not the possession, the second one, where I said in the reaction video the Lions were playing with their food. I think it was the 4th or the 5th one, somewhere there in the second quarter. Moving forward, third possession. Drag complete to St. Brown underneath. You do have 2 defenders that go with St. Brown. Laporta kind of pops open a little bit late. It's a 2nd and 10 after, I believe, an incomplete pass. I love what Ben Johnson does with so many of these drag routes. The drag underneath, A route emanating from the other side kind of sits here, almost like we would call it a half mesh. The running back is releasing opposite, so they're getting everything they want. Defender responding to Montgomery late. In this case, 2 defenders responding with Montgomery on the drag, with St. Brown on the drag, who is obviously open. He gets 11 yards. But you can see Laporta even more open late in the middle of the field. There's just so many yards of carry in the reaction video. Don't believe that was true. But same play, end zone angle. You can see Laporta springing open late, but Goff has already made the decision, correct decision, in fact, to get the ball to St. Brown touchdown. Really at that point puts the game away. First, let's get to the personnel. 12 personnel, and I would say pro slot. So pro is down here, St. Brown and the tight end, and then slot up top. You got the toss, and since they've been running the reverse so well in recent weeks, there's the reverse. Flip it back to Goff. I thought Brady handled this well. Everyone's forgot about Laporta. You can't blame them. Overshawn reacts to, he becomes aware of him as a potential receiver, then maybe he could stop it for a shorter gain that is. It's still going to be a completion. Nice protection, if you ask me. And add on to this is the obvious clear out route down here to the side to basically allow all this space to be wide open for Laporta to run onto and say, the defense we're going to face is the highest quality one that we faced so far. Well, that may be true. I would say they're probably on par with the Bucs in a lot of ways from an athletic standpoint, just so you can see the iteration that I'm talking about. So it is not 12 personnel like the play I just showed you, number one. Number two, St. Brown isn't motioning and then coming back to get the reverse before he flips it back to Goff. Functionally, it's the same thing. You got the toss to Montgomery, and then I think it's St. Brown, Raymond flipping it back to Goff. Same exact route, same exact concept up here. So when I say that I think Ben Johnson cycles through trick plays, anomalous plays, but has a baseline measure of practicing them, this is what I mean. Doesn't matter who's in the position they're in. My suspicion is that everyone has practiced this. And what I mean is every receiver has practiced taking the flip from the running back and then handing it back to Goff, or in this case, flipping it backwards to Goff. I think they're practicing this in pods, and my suspicion is you've probably got 3 or 4 wide receivers over there, 1 or 2 running backs, and 1 or 2 tight ends, while another group is practicing something else. I don't know. You may say, well, Coach, why are you trying to explain it to you that way? It's the only way I can think that they're able to maximize so many reps such that when they do execute these things, it's clean. The handoffs are clean. The reverse handoffs are clean. The flips back to Goff and other players are clean. I am impressed by the non-lateral to Sewell last night or yesterday by St. Brown. Yes, it's a forward pass, so I looked at it again, and it looks like it's a forward pass. So, therefore, the lineman being downfield is in a, quote, gray area. It's generally not called in this point in time in 2024. Having said that, I understand why they called it. If the ball's caught behind the line of scrimmage, it's not a big deal. But it's the cleanness of that play that catches me. Sewell is a guy who plays offensive line, and he doesn't get much practice on those things unless he's over there practicing in a pod, meaning you have a trick play pullout. Imagine a classroom where you're teaching math or you're teaching Spanish, and you've got a separate group of 6 or 8 students off to the side practicing a particular skill that maybe they've got a weakness in, or maybe you're trying to introduce, and you don't want to introduce it to a classroom of 25 kids who may be bored with the subject matter in the first place. So you introduce it to a smaller number of kids, in this case, athletes. I suspect it's a pod pullout where they practice a number of trick plays. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's twice a week. I could be wrong. I have no way of knowing, just my speculation based on the limited coaching experience that I have. This offense is absolutely rolling. I kind of can't wait to get into the previews for the upcoming game, their division game against the Vikings. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed this video, it wasn't a possession review. It was 3 possessions reviewed, but I tried to get it in and out for you in under 20 to 25 minutes. I will have a video out maybe Monday night after the Monday Night Football game on speculating how the Lions could get something done to address the defensive end position. It sounds like some of the news as far as Aiden Hutchinson was good news. and that it's not as serious an injury as it could have been. I don't know all the details, but I read a couple of explanations that it sounds like it was a little more positive than maybe we all initially thought, but still probably obviously going to be out for the year, and it'll be an off-season situation for his return. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section. If you've ever considered joining my Discord, it is a part of my Patreon. It's $4.99 a month. It gets you access to the Lions Community Discord, a secure community where we can discuss the game live during the game as it happens, or during the week, techniques, adjustments, things that we see on film, or just interesting stories or video links that we find. I appreciate you guys' time, man. If you think other Lions fans would enjoy this video, please consider grabbing a link to it, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.